It is the most common cancer in women worldwide and the fifth most common cause of death in women. I'm sure by now you know I'm talking about breast cancer in Ghana. Breast cancer has been identified as the second leading cause of cancer deaths, with about 2,900 cases being diagnosed annually. Now, at least 1 out of every 8 women diagnosed with the disease die. And this raises very critical questions, including how far we have come as a nation in dealing with this killer and exactly what women should do to reduce the risk of breast cancer. Tonight on PM Express, we're talking Breast Cancer Month, which is the month of October, and we will be looking out for innovative ways of reducing the risk of breast cancer. Of course, don't forget today is also World No Bra Day, all in solidarity with the Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I tried it at home, but I was making sure I will not be causing fear and panic, so I didn't do it here. And my name is Aisha Ibrahim. I'm a very powerful woman in the studio, 2 powerful women, I must say. You will get to know them after this break. Welcome back to PM Express. If you just joined us, we are discussing breast cancer. You know, the month of October is called the Pink Month, so we are all pink. And in the studio tonight is Dr. Josephine Nsafo, who is a general surgeon at the breast cancer unit at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. And also joining the discussion is Madam Gladys Boateng, a breast cancer survivor for so many years. Ladies, happy Pink Month and welcome to PM Express.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, so let me start with you, Dr. Nsafo. I mean, we've had all the tips to stay safe and all of that, and still we are recording a huge number of cancer cases, and it means that we must increase the awareness, we must increase education, and I know you've been doing some wonderful job all this while, especially this month of October. How has the campaign been like?
Well, for this year, I think it's really big because the breast units, we've taken it upon ourselves, you know, instead of just treating the disease, and a lot of it late stage, we want to come out to create awareness so that people know that breast cancer is curable when we catch it early. So far we've been on social media. You see some text messages, WhatsApp, we're on Facebook, we are sending the message out there, you are giving us airtime. We are going out, we've been doing screening at markets, companies, and it's really been good. We have a toll-free phone number. People are calling in with all sorts of questions, and by the day I think the message is getting out there. So for this year our theme is early detection and effective treatment save lives.
Early detection, effective treatment save lives. That's
yes.
Very interesting. Let me come to Auntie Gladys. Tell us, how long have you lived with this breast cancer?
Well, I was diagnosed in 1999 and had a surgery in 99, so it's getting to 18 years now.
18 years now, wow. That's a very long time. So how did it first come to you? I mean, how did you detect that you had a lump or something, or how did you find out that, okay, I need to go and see a doctor, and then finally they needed to do a surgery?
Yeah, I didn't go to the hospital because of the breast cancer. I went there because of a waist pain, and I went to see a Ghanaian. He examined me, and then he said he has to total. After a test, there was nothing, so he just also said he has to examine me. And when he touched the right breast, there was something hard, and I haven't even noticed it. And so that he told me to see a surgeon, and the surgeon did what they call the biopsy, took a piece and tested and found it was cancerous. So I was told to have mastectomy. They're going to remove the whole breast, the right breast.
Okay. How do you feel?
Well, I was anxious. I was afraid because the people I knew who had cancer at that time, I didn't know any survivor, but there is a lot of. I've survived 18 years. I know people have survived 30 years, 35, getting to, yeah. But I didn't know, and the people I knew weren't going to hospital, so they stayed home, and by the time they go to the hospital, it's too late. So I thought it's a death sentence, and so I thought it will happen to me. So I excused myself, and I prayed, and I came to them. I said, what next? And they said, this is what I would have to do. And so I went and I did the surgery. I did the surgery in South Africa, and then the good thing is that I met Reach for Recovery, which is a support group. Okay. And they really encouraged me, gave me a package called a goodie bag. It's a recovery kit. Okay. And inside is a temporal prosthesis, a pillow, a 32-page mastectomy guide, exercise sheets, and the ball to exercise. Okay. And that really encouraged me, and they invited me to their meeting, and I met a lot of survivors. And here I was thinking it's a death sentence, but there I saw so many people who nearly died, yeah, and they have survived, and their case were worse than mine. Yes. Because after surgery, the doctor told me out of 9 lymph nodes he removed it, the tumor has gone to 1 of them. And I thought it was good. I didn't understand. But the patient close to me became my second doctor, and explaining in a fearful way that, oh, it's a matter of time. It will get to my head. It will get to my brain, get to my liver and all that. So I was quite afraid. And I told the doctor, especially my bone was hurt in the back. And the lady goes again, oh, if it has gone to the bone, it's the end of, you know. Yeah. He has also come, he's sick on something.
But scary moment.
Yeah, it was scary. So I went to another hospital. I was asked to go to another hospital to do a bone scan, and I came and there was nothing. Yeah. Then they told me I've gotten a visitor, a young girl from Reach for Recovery, South Africa, came to visit me. He was 29 years at that time, and he said he has survived 9 years. And I look at her.
So it wasn't a death sentence.
It wasn't,
after all. But Doc, let me get this from you. We know about 5 to 10% of the breast cancers are linked to gene mutations. But what happens to the 90 to 95%? I mean, do we know what really causes breast cancer?
That's a very good question. The actual cause of breast cancer, other than the genetic ones you've mentioned, is not known. But cancer starts in the cell, in the gene, and for some reason, somebody who doesn't even have the gene for it, the cell just suddenly starts misbehaving, if I should say. There's a normal cell cycle. A cell is born, it has its life cycle, it dies off, a new one comes. But this cell just rapidly and abnormally divides, and then it grows, and then it takes up the breast. So there's no cause as such for breast cancer. So you can't tell who will get it and who will not get it. Yes. Okay. But it is, if you have it in your gene, then you know that your risk is very high, even as high as 80, almost getting to 100%. But they are the very few. So the majority of women will get what we say a sporadic breast cancer. It just happens, unfortunately, to you.
But are there lifestyles that could expose us quicker to this kind of disease?
Yes. Breast cancer, like other cancers, in fact, like other diseases, these days everybody's talking about a healthy lifestyle. So those are the things you can do to reduce your risk. So we are talking about exercise, cutting down on obesity, watching what you eat. Fruits and vegetables contain antitoxins, which help fight certain things we call carcinogens. So generally the healthy lifestyle, the exercise, watching your weight, eating fruits and veg, all those things will help reduce your risk of getting breast cancer. But I must say a lot of people have lived by the rules perfectly and still will get it. So there are some things we call risk factors. And a risk factor is something which, if you have, you probably could get it. Doesn't mean you definitely get it. Okay. But unfortunately, with breast cancer, the risk factors are difficult to change. as you rightly said, if it's in your gene, really you can't change it. Yes, there are other risk factors as well, which has to do with being a woman. So one of them, for instance, if you start your menses at a very young age, say 9 years or 10 years, or your menopause is very late, like beyond 55 years, so which means you spend years menstruating. It has to do with hormones, the female hormones and all that. So the more years you have menstruating, the higher your risk, slightly higher your risk. But you can't change when you start your menses, you can't change when you have menopause. But one useful thing is breastfeeding, actually. You know, breastfeeding your children up to 2 years, if you can do that, more than 1 year, up to 2 years, has been shown to have some protection against breast cancer. So breastfeeding, certainly we should encourage that.
So that means that if you have many children, you're likely not to be at risk.
I won't say likely not to, but your risk is actually reduced. So the more children you have and breastfeed, the better your protection, or the less your risk. So on the other side, unfortunately, if you're a woman and you didn't have any children at all, you have actually a slighter, more risk than somebody who has lots of children. Or perhaps you wait, like most of us, in work and school and all that, then let's say you have your first child after the age of 35. But there are some of these things you really cannot change. It's what your body goes through, or what life brings your way. Yes. So it's through lifestyle changes that we can do. So in short, if you are going to get breast cancer, you probably will get it. That is why the emphasis is on early detection.
But let's get this elaboration clearly. We're told that risk involved in breast cancer, it doubles each decade. And we're saying that it's, until menopause, and then after which the increase slows. And then we're also told it is more common after menopause. We like to understand the cycle a little more better.
So generally, your risk increases with age. Generally, your risk increases with age. So the older you are, the more your chance of getting breast cancer.
But there are some young people who have also been diagnosed.
Yes, there are a lot. But when you look at the figures, you see that the older women have it more. Now, young ladies in their teens, in their 20s have a lot of breast lumps, but most of them are not breast cancer. But last year we had a patient who was 17 years and had breast cancer. So women as young as 20 years can get breast cancer, and unfortunately we are seeing a lot. But in Ghana, the peak age for getting breast cancer is between 40 to 49. If you were living in the UK or US, your peak age actually is 50 to 59. So we've noticed that in Ghana and in black women, we tend to get breast cancer slightly a bit more early than the Caucasians.
What could be the reason? Because of course that was what I was coming to. I get confused when I read about, okay, your age, and whilst you're getting older, and then finally it comes to your race. What could be the reason for that?
Yes, so you know, elsewhere they do a lot of research on breast cancer. Unfortunately, we haven't done that much here, but we've realized that it has something to do with race. So there's something to do with race in our genes, which puts us at a risk earlier. So you'll find that even black people or black Americans who have never stepped foot in Africa, whose maybe grandparents were not even here, just because of the black genes or something, though they are there, they still tend to get it a bit younger than their Caucasian counterparts. So there seems to be some racial differences in breast cancer. So now we are trying to do more local research to see what it is that seems to make us get our breast cancer a bit earlier.
And take like this, it wasn't a death sentence after all, because finally you realized that there were a lot more people who had more serious problems than you, and even younger people who had your problems. So what have you been doing with your survival? Have you been helping others to also survive?
Yeah, so Reach for Recovery is also here. We brought it here, and we have been visiting patients in the ward. You know, sometimes when the news is brought to people, they are scared and they refuse surgery. So sometimes I'm called and we talk to the person, and show her my scar, that it's not a death sentence. I've had it since 10 years, since 15 years, since 18 years now. And after talking and explaining things, they are calm, because when you tell somebody that it's cancer, the mind shut up. Everything you say else, the fear, anxiety setting. But when a survivor talks to her and explain it and this, and so they agree to do it. And we do, that is a counseling before surgery, and after surgery, 2 days after surgery, we go and visit the patients and we give them, I told the lady who visited me in South Africa that because the one bag he gave me to, at that time I've given about 4,000, and now it's over 6,000 bags to people, and we have comforted them. So this is a content, it's a pillow for the comfort of your arm. A temporal prosthesis, you don't need the silicone immediately after surgery. It's a bit heavy for you. So this is something with a fiber, and you can later on can put some beans or stone inside to make it heavier. And then you can put it in your distance. And then we give you a ball to exercise. We give you a 32-page mastectomy guide all about your surgery. It doesn't take the place of the doctor, but you have to know some terms used and some questions to ask and all that. So this is an exercise sheet and all that we give to the patient. Everything is given to them free, and from Reach for Recovery Ghana, that is the organization that we do. So every Tuesday and Friday we go around the ward in Kolebu and offer these to patients. Our presence also let them know that it's not a death sentence, and that they are not alone in their situation. Yeah. And before, sometimes we take them for outing, and then we used to have monthly meetings, which we are not doing now, but we start quarterly, then we have a resource person come and talk to us. And so it's time they ask questions, because people are talking so much outside. They say you don't have to eat this,
you get confused.
And then after a year you die and all that. So if somebody died and we are even anxious, we bring in a psychologist to talk to us. If we don't understand something, we bring in maybe a pharmacist, oncology, a surgeon, a dietitian to come and advise us. And so that's what we do.
Doc, is surgery the surest way?
Yes. You see, the cancer starts in your breast. So that is the source of the cancer. Really, if it were just a lump that stayed in the breast, it wouldn't be a problem. The problem is the cancer cells break off, and then they go into your bloodstream. And so when they are in your bloodstream, they are so tiny, even our tests cannot detect all. So these tiny cells can go into your brain, into your liver, into your lungs, your bone. Unfortunately, that is what will kill you, not that you have a lump in your breast. So if we want to cure you of cancer, we have to take that lump out of your breast.
So it doesn't spread?
Yes. But having said that, we can actually take only the lump out and leave the breast for you.
Okay.
We don't always have to take off your whole breast.
At what stage would it become necessary to take off the whole breast?
It really depends on size. So if you are very vigilant and then you pick up a small lump, maybe 2, 3, 4 centimeters, even if you are very busty, even a 5 centimeter lump, you could get away with it. We take the lump out. But when the lump is big, it gets to 5 centimeters or a bit more, as big as my fist, there's no way we can leave it there, because cancer tends to spread within the breast. So we can't leave the breast behind. So when it's small, we can take out the lump and leave the breast for you. But when it's big, we'll have to take off the whole breast. Otherwise, it's going to kill you. So we do it because it's necessary, not because we don't like you.
Early detection, effective treatment saves life. How do we go about this whole thing? In fact, you want us to try and be doing our own personal examination at home. I bet you a lot of people don't know how to do this. How do we go about it?
Yes. So early detection. So by that, every woman needs to do a breast self-examination. And so the essence is to know your normal breasts. Everybody's breast is different. So every month you examine yourself. So when you are used to your normal breast, The moment there's the slightest change, you detect it early and come to hospital. So that's how we go about the early detection. So for monthly breast self-examination, every woman, once you are 20 years, you should start. But you don't want to do that during your menses. You know that during your menses, your breasts are a bit heavy.
Yeah.
So let's wait about 5 days or a week after your menses and everything has settled. Then you can examine your breasts. So the first thing you want to do is you want to stand in front of a mirror with your hands by your side and then your hands up and just have a look.
Doc, if you can show us how to do that, it will be interesting.
So then you just have a look first, and anything you see that has not been there before, you need to report it.
Okay.
So after that, then you want to touch your breast. You want to examine your breast. So this would be the left breast. And you don't want to use your fingertips. You don't want to use your fingertips. You have to make your fingers flat like this, and then you put it on your breast. You put it on your breast. So you press the breast down like this.
Okay.
Then you move it a little bit. You press it down.
Lower. Okay.
Okay. So you do that,
you
and you go round and round and round and round and round. Cover all the bits. Don't forget, including where the nipple is. And then also going this way towards your armpits.
Okay.
Yes.
Some of the lumps can get over there.
The breast goes all the way up to your collarbone.
Okay.
And all the way to your armpits.
Okay.
And then under the fold under. So you want to examine that thoroughly. Then when you are done, you need to squeeze your nipple.
Okay.
So you come back and then you squeeze it this way. Then you have a look. Then you go in the other direction, squeeze it this way, and then you have a look. Okay. What you are looking for is any abnormal fluid coming out. If it's clear or like a little milk, it's not a problem. But if it's a different color, especially if it looks like blood, even though you don't have a lump, an abnormal discharge from your nipple could be a sign of breast cancer. Okay. And then the last thing you want to do is go into your armpit. You put your fingers into your armpit, dig deep, and see whether you feel a lump there as well. Okay. It's also helpful to do it when you're having your bath. You know, when you have soap on your hands, it's quite slippery, and then any lump or any abnormal thing
can easily show.
Yes, exactly. Okay. So you want to do that once a month. Someone says, oh, in that case, then I'll do it every day. No, once a month is enough. You know, if you see me every day and I'm putting on weight, you can't tell. But if you haven't seen me in a whole month, and you see me immediately, you can tell the difference.
All right.
So just once a month, and then that should be fine. In addition to that, like Auntie Gladys did, she went to a doctor who examined her and incidentally found it. So every month you do that. But once you hit the age of 40, once a year, you should go for a checkup. And that once a year, a doctor should also examine your breast. And then when you hit the age of 40, you want to do a mammogram. A mammogram is a special x-ray. It will squeeze your breast a little, but it's very helpful. Sometimes there may be...
That is from the age of 40?
40, yes. Sometimes there may be something there which is so small you can't feel it. Even a doctor cannot feel it. Okay. But if we catch it early on a mammogram, that's really good. So you do it every year or every 2 years. If you can do it even every 2 years, that's good. If somebody in your family has had breast cancer, probably you should be doing it every year. Okay. So you do that from the age of 40. And so examining yourself, a doctor examining you, and the mammogram, these are the usual ways in which we are able to detect breast cancer early.
All right. A very interesting information we're having in the studio. If you just joined us, this PM Express, and we're having a very interesting conversation on how to develop alternative ways or very innovative ways of dealing with breast cancer. We know that breast cancer is catching up with us, and annually we're told that so many people are getting breast cancer. But very alarming is the fact that among every 8 people diagnosed with breast cancer, 1 out of them die annually. You don't want to be part of this, so you want to report early to the doctor to get some advice to kick it off. We'll take a break on PM Express. When we come back, more tip for dealing with breast cancer. This is PM Express with me, Aisha Ibrahim, and experts say early detection, effective treatment, saves life. We're talking about breast cancer and how to deal with it. We want you to join this conversation from home. Share your experiences. If you need any tip from Doc, she's ready to give it out. The numbers to call is 030-2211-691 or 030-2211-692 and join the conversation. Let's find ways of dealing with breast cancer. Auntie Gladys, you are a survivor and of course you're living very well. Grace has caught up with you. Tell us, do you feel that, okay, I had breast cancer, family and friends are not coming around, they've left me, and I'm not living the kind of life I want to live because I had breast cancer, or I would have achieved more than I have done now but for the breast cancer? Do you sometimes feel that way?
No, I've never felt, because I didn't even have time to think about myself. When I threw myself into this, there's so many people in the morning, they are calling you, asking you things, and being the director for Reach for Recovery, cancer women. So a lot of people will reach out to me. Sometimes even if they have to talk to their doctor, they will come and tell me. And I say, why don't you talk to your doctor about it? Or if maybe sometimes I'll call their doctor and ask some things on their behalf. And I see people who have more problems. So I didn't have pity on myself. And though in my own life, I travel a lot because we have worked with Foreign Affairs and the UN, so I travel a lot and visit my children. But with this one also, it makes you travel. You know, sometimes twice I've been called to Harvard University to give a talk with there's sometimes non-communicable disease, to join a panel or do something. So I also travel and I don't have time. And I think coming out and talking to people has put me into this, getting to know people and others. So I've never felt sorry for myself. I don't do what I'm doing for publicity or to gain anything, but because somebody came and talked to me, they say, God comfort you to comfort others.
Exactly.
The lady reached out to me in the hospital, and from there, we have counseled a lot of people and then gone round to create awareness in Volta region, Central region, Western region, across the country, you know, screen over 60,000 people across the country, and then awareness in churches and things. I don't have time to have self-pity.
How has the response from family and friends been like? Do you sometimes feel stigmatized or something like that?
No, I don't feel, you know, I used to joke with my children when they call, oh, I say, I'm still alive, and now I don't say it because it has been so long, but I don't feel. So sometimes you hear some comments that will make you feel, oh, the person who have the same illness as yours is dead, and we went to a funeral and another person, you know, but I don't let it get to me, you know, because since I was diagnosed, I had a surgery, there are so many healthy people who have died, who were not sick and all that, so you don't know. But so I don't have that thought and fear. One thing I'm afraid is stress. And when it's coming to me, I want to run out of it. Yeah.
So quick, so it doesn't get to you. Let's speak with Grace from Volta region. Hello, Grace. Thanks for calling us. I think we lost Grace. Okay, we'll try and reach her back for her to share her experiences with us. Doc, how do we reduce the risk? You were talking about if you breastfeed for more than 1 year, it's a plus for you as a woman. What other things can we be doing as women so that we can reduce the risk? You talk about checking your lump or doing examination every month, or we could do it more than once in a month, or I don't know, but how do we reduce the risk?
Yeah, so we start with the basics. That's the healthy lifestyle. Like I said, lots of fruits, vegetables. We need to cut down on the junk we are eating. You know, cancer was supposed to be a disease for the white man. As in, it's more in the developed countries.
Okay.
But why is it that suddenly we are getting a lot of cancer in Ghana, in Africa.
And it looks like our age risk is even
Yes.
lower than the white
And it's
man.
probably because our lifestyles too have become westernized. I think back in the day, of course, before you and I were born, you know, our ancestors used to walk everywhere, eat a lot of fruits, vegetables, contumely and
Greens.
things. But yes, and now we're taking a lot of soft drinks, we are eating lots of fast food, unhealthy things. And if I'm to be honest with myself, I mean, we drive everywhere.
Yeah.
We hardly get enough exercise.
For ourselves.
So our lifestyles have become westernized.
Let me hold you on and speak with Richmond from Obuase. Richmond, thanks for joining us here on PM Express.
Good evening, Aisha.
Richmond.
And good evening to the doctor. I would like to ask the doctor. Hello.
Yes, Richmond.
Yeah, I would like to ask the doctor the difference between the breast cancer lump and the normal lump in the breast.
Okay. Doc has heard you. She'll provide an answer. Doc, before we continue with reducing the risk, maybe we should address his question, the difference between the normal lump in the breast and the one that causes breast cancer.
I wouldn't say there is a normal lump in the breast.
There shouldn't be.
Yes, there isn't a normal lump. Though when a woman examines her breast, some breasts are not very smooth. They sort of feel lumpy. Not that it is a normal lump, but some breasts have some tiny, tiny bumps in it, and that is normal for the person. But the lump, that is a disease. We can have the cancerous disease and a non-cancerous disease. When you examine your breast, it stands out. It's not like what you feel every day. It stands out. It feels different.
Okay.
Let's say if it were small, like a peanut, granite, or pebbles, golden tree pebbles.
Okay.
Even though every day you touch your breast, you see there are some tiny little things. It's not perfectly smooth. Then when something is wrong, you feel it sticks out differently from what the normal feeling you get in your breast. So there isn't a normal lump.
Okay, so we have Charles from Sunyani. Charles, thank you so much for joining us. Hello, Charles. You are on PM Express. Let's hear you out, Charles. Hello, Charles. You're on PM Express.
Hello.
Okay, let's speak with Nicholas. Nicholas, if you can hear me, you're on PM Express. Share with us your experience.
Oh, okay. I would like to ask the doctor if more education could go for the men, because as men, we sometimes handle the breast so much. So if you can be educated on how to detect those lumps. And also, I would like to ask if there's a detection in one breast and it's soft, can it return to the other breast? Let's say there's a problem with the left breast. He has an S detection and it's soft. Can it return to the right breast?
Okay, you mean can it spread to the other breast?
Yeah, can it be another problem?
Okay.
With the other breast?
All right. Thank you very much, Nicholas. Doc will provide an answer soon. Let's speak with Daniel from Kumasi. Daniel, you're on PM Express.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening, Daniel.
Please, I want to know, normally when we talk about breast cancer, we relate it to women. Has there been any occasion where men are supposed to be recorded as patients with breast cancer?
All right, Daniel, thank you so much for your question. Doc, over to you.
Yes. Men occasionally can get breast cancer. So if you take all the patients with breast cancer, 1 to 2% of them will be men. And in Kolebu, we have a handful of men who have breast cancer. And actually, they are treated the exact same way as female breast cancer. They also have the breast surgery, they have chemotherapy, radiotherapy. It's the same sort of thing. So it's not too common, but yes, it does happen in men. Okay. The other question,
Nicholas wanted to know if
can it go to the other breast?
Can it transfer to the other breast?
So you can have breast cancer in one breast, and sometimes if you don't treat it, it can actually spread to the other breast.
Okay.
And actually, if you have breast cancer in one breast and you are treated and you are a survivor, it is also possible that you can have a new breast cancer in the other breast. Not necessarily it's spreading across, which could happen, but you can get a new growth in the other breast even years later. And then I think he also wanted to know about what men could do. We actually need men on board with breast cancer in Ghana because the men influence the women a lot.
A lot.
Yes. A woman may even notice something in the breast, and we've had some patients who have come, and it's the husband who noticed something in the breast first.
Wow.
Yes.
Let's speak with Rosina. Rosina is on the line. Rosina, good evening to you on PM Express. Rosina, let's hear you.
Yeah. I am also a survivor for 5 years now.
Okay, that's great news.
But I'm always afraid that something will happen to me again. Though I've been put on medicine. So I'm always confused.
Well, I think Auntie Gladys will deal with that. She's been surviving for 18 years, so I'm sure there's no cause for alarm. But let's speak with Charles from Bowie. Charles, you're on the show, PM Express. Hello, Charles.
Hello.
Charles, reduce the volume of your TV set and let's have a conversation.
Okay.
Okay, so let's hear you, Charles.
Hello, my name is Charles, calling from Bowie.
Okay, we know that.
Okay, I have a daughter who is 17, and then he consists of a lump in the armpit.
Okay.
But as time goes on, it just shrinks. So I want to ask whether any lump in the armpit is a sign of cancer.
Okay.
Because myself, I had one and it just
vanished.
Yeah.
Okay, Charles, thank you so much. Doc will address your issue. Let's start with Rosina, and I want Auntie Gladys to deal with her. She says she's been surviving for 5 years, but sometimes she has fears that something could happen to her.
Yeah, I always say that if I hadn't reached for recovery, I could have been dead, not from the disease, but from the fear and the isolation. So you don't have to think about this, you know, go about your normal duties. Like I was saying, a lot of people have died that I knew that weren't sick, you know, so you don't have to let fear rule you. And I think we have to start the support, and you can take my number also and call me when you are afraid. You don't have to let fear rule you. Just go through your treatment. If anything, you know, sometimes it does really occur, but you have to go to your to the doctor. People get treated, and for some time they never step to the hospital. They don't want to know. So if anything is coming, you know, nobody knows. So you come to the hospital, and if anything is coming, something is coming up, the doctors will put you on treatment again, and you can, you know, it's a fight. You don't sit down and cry.
So Rosina, if you can call back after this show, we'll give you Auntie Gladys's number so that you can have some chat with her. She would encourage you a lot, and you will wipe away that fear in you. We had Charles from Bowie who says that he detected a lump in his armpit and it vanished, and his 17-year-old daughter has also got a lump in the armpit, and he wants to know what that is, Doc.
Yes, Aisha, God being so good, all the breast diseases, those that are not cancer, actually more than those that are cancer. It's just that cancer is such a serious disease, we are giving it more attention. So if you find something in your breast or in your armpit, it does not mean that it is breast cancer. Okay. But unless you come for us to check it out, we cannot tell that it is breast cancer. So most people will come to hospital and be relieved that, oh, it wasn't breast cancer at all.
Let me speak with Ernestina from Sunyani. Ernestina, good evening. You are on PM Express. Okay, let's go to Ebenezer from Cape Coast. Ebenezer, you're on PM Express.
Yeah. Good evening.
Good evening, Ebenezer. Yeah. You're on PM Express.
Yes. I just learned that breastfeeding reduces the risk of breast cancer.
That's what doctor says.
Does it mean, as men, we should be sucking our wives' breasts to reduce the risk Does it? I mean,
well,
is that the case? Would it help if you start sucking our wife's breast?
Doc will address that for you. Thank you very much, Ebenezer, for that question. Do we have more callers? We had Ernestina. Have we lost her? Okay, Doc. Okay, I'm told that Ernestina is still on the line. Ernestina is from Sunyani. Ernestina, you're on PM Express. Please reduce the volume on your TV set. Hello, Ernestina. Well, I think we missed Ernestina. Kweku is on the line. Kweku, you're on PM Express. Hello, Kweku, you're on PM Express. All right. All right, Doc. Let's go with the lump. You were still explaining.
Yes, I was expecting that question. That's the favorite question I get from men all the time.
Okay, yes, but we know breast milk is for babies.
Yes, don't mind the men at all.
Babies.
But actually, it has a lot to do with the female hormones. When you are menstruating, your hormones are different. When you are pregnant, your hormones are different and similar to the hormones during breastfeeding. So during the breastfeeding time, there's a difference in your hormones. Unlike the hormones which keep going through the cycle and menses, I talked about having years of menstruation. By the time you get pregnant and you have babies, there's a change and there's a break. And that different level of hormone offers you some protection.
Okay.
So if you're not lactating and breastfeeding a baby and it's just a man playing with your breast, it's not likely to do that much good like a baby. So I'm encouraging breastfeeding babies.
And not men.
I will not discourage the men, but they shouldn't use that as an excuse.
Okay, Doc. Let's look at the point at which a patient will say, I have no option. At what stage would you say, at this point, there is no hope?
As in, there's
and
no
that's the patient must die. The breast cancer patient will die.
So at the beginning, I talked about when breast cancer has spread. When it spreads beyond the breast and it goes to your liver, your lungs, your brain, or your bones, unfortunately, eventually, that is what could kill you, or that is what will kill you, not the lump in the breast.
Okay.
But even at that stage, there's still a lot we can do. We've had patients who the disease has spread to their lungs, to their brains, and with more treatment, especially chemotherapy, which I know people don't want to hear about.
Okay.
But this chemotherapy destroys the cancer cells in your bloodstream and in your lungs or wherever. So it destroys them there, and it makes the disease shrink. It might not be a cure, or it is not a cure at that stage, but it shrinks and you are relieved, you feel better. And instead of, let's say, we left it without treatment and you may pass away in a couple of months, you could actually go on living for a few more years. Yes. But the emphasis here is early detection. And so once we catch it early, we can cure you and you wouldn't get to that stage.
Okay.
And when you get to that stage, we can still help you. There's what we call palliative treatment. Even if it has to come to death, we help you to have a good death, but we'd much rather treat you when we can cure you.
Doc, let's look at how to examine our the lumps in our breast once more for the benefit of the viewers who couldn't catch it when you did it the first time. And you said we should do it every month, or
yes,
we can do it twice in a month, or
once a month.
How often?
Is the best.
Is the best. Okay.
Yes, and I explained that because every day, if you see someone living in your house, you can't see the person is putting on weight. But if you haven't seen your friend in a month, as soon as you see her, you
notice the changes.
You notice the change. So don't examine your breast every day. And do not examine your breast during your menses.
Okay.
Because your breasts are heavy. Some are even a bit painful.
Yeah.
So you wait for a few days after your menses, let's say 5 days, 7 days, and your breasts have come down, the heaviness has settled. Then you can examine your breast. And every breast examination starts with looking at your breast. Okay. So you want to stand in front of a mirror and have a look. Okay. Then you raise your hand straight above your head and then have a look. You may see a rash, a change in color, a different patch, a sore. You could even see a dimple or part of it bulging out. All these are signs that there could be something wrong with your breast. Okay. Let me repeat it. Because you find something wrong in your breast doesn't mean it is a breast cancer. You must come and let us biopsy it or check it out and before you jump to conclusions.
Okay.
So this is the model we are using. So this is the left breast. So after you've looked at the breast, you want to touch your breast. So you make your hands flat like this. We do not use fingertips to examine a breast.
Okay.
If you do this to the breast, you will feel a lump which is not there and you start panicking.
Okay.
So you make your fingers flat. So you put it on your breast and then you just press it down against the chest wall.
Okay.
So you press it against the chest wall.
Okay.
Press it down against the chest wall.
Okay.
So you want to do this a little bit at a time. Then you keep going round. You go round, you get all the bits, including the bit where the nipple is. Go round. And remember to come to the part up there, going into towards your armpit, and all the way up to your collarbone. All that is part of the breast.
Okay.
And then when you are done feeling your breast, then you must squeeze the nipple. Then in the other direction too, you want to squeeze the nipple. Then you have a look at it and look for any unusual fluid coming out. Yes. If it's a little clear, a bit like milk, it's not too much of a problem. But when the color looks funny, especially when it's beginning to look like blood, that could be a danger sign.
Okay.
And even a bloody nipple discharge without any lump could be a sign of breast cancer. And don't forget to examine your armpits. You want to put your fingers deep into your armpits.
Okay.
Dig in there and feel. You are looking for a lump. And a lump feels like a peanut, a granite, golden tree pebbles, a stone, a little something that usually is not.
Is
there.
it only a lump that should raise an alarm?
So the lump is the commonest,
Okay.
but bloody nipple discharge, fluid from your nipple is one thing. Sometimes you may see a sore or your nipples has changed color red. Another interesting one is you must look at the direction of your nipple. If your nipple usually points outwards, now it's beginning to point inwards.
Okay.
Or it's beginning to turn to the left or to the right. All those could be a sign of breast cancer. But do you know that most of the time breast cancer is not painful? When it starts, usually it is not painful. There are only 1 or 2 cases where the patient may have persistent pain in a particular spot. But breast pain usually is not breast cancer. So I have to sound that as a warning. Don't wait for pain before you come to the hospital. Breast cancer usually is painless.
Well, many thanks to you. That was Dr. Nsafo. She's from the breast cancer unit from the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Auntie Gladys, let's get some advice for especially someone like Rosina out there who are living in fear and panic, whereas they shouldn't be living in such fear.
Yeah, I just want to tell everybody, all women, that breast cancer is not a death sentence. The doctors have assured us that early detection is the best cure. So if you feel you have seen something, or the doctors have told you that you have cancer, you just have to follow the advice. See, don't go round. Going around and using all kinds of untested traditional sources is the killer. By the time you come, it has spread to other side. And sometimes people are very loud in the market telling you, don't go to the hospital. I was told not to go and see a doctor because if I go within a year, I will die. But I did, and it's 18 years. So don't just listen to people telling you don't go to the hospital, and when the disease has spread and last minute, then they will tell you to, now you can go, only to go and die.
I think you should mention your number so that people can contact you for some advice.
Yeah, for a survivor or somebody who is afraid, my number is 020-811-3237.
All right, so you heard her mention. If you can hit on it again,
020-811-3237.
And Auntie Gladys has all the tips for you to make you live without any fear and panic. Of course, that's all time will allow us. Of course, you know, it's a women thing. We would want to do it over and over again. So when we have time, we will do this whole thing again. Remember, it's a pink month. So thank you so much, Doc, for coming. Thank you so much, Auntie Gladys, for coming. And you at home, thank you so much for watching. It's still a pink month. You know, the month of October is breast cancer month. So get your pink on. Tell a friend to put on their pink. Let's create more awareness for breast cancer and shake it off our system. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Thanks so much for watching. I'm out of here.